Welcome to another edition of Building Peace during the pandemic. And this week, we're really honored to have Ulrika Richardson, who is the UN Development Coordinator in Kosovo, with us to speak about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on peace-building efforts. So Ulrika, let me start with that. And I hope you appreciate my new background. It's new for this edition. But I wanted to ask you, Ulrika, about the impact of the pandemic on peace-building efforts. We've been, the UN team in Kosovo, engaged for a long time on building peace, improving stability, governance in Kosovo. How has the pandemic affected those efforts at the moment, and how do you see the situation developing?
I would say that there are three key impacts that we are seeing from the pandemic on peace building efforts in Kosovo. So one, of course, is the entire socio-economic situation, where we see fragilities in the systems being exacerbated by COVID. So if this is people, a lot of the young people who are not finding the jobs that they desire, if it is a weak social protection system that is leaving a lot of people behind, including many minorities. The second area, I would say, is political polarization. So with COVID, of course, political, let's say vision, time frame is very short. So you see how the political rhetoric is becoming much harsher. The third area, I would say, is on social cohesion. Because of all of this, we see that a lot of the texture within the society, a lot of the social tissue that we've been working on a lot, which is strengthening trust between people, increasing space where people from different communities, different ethnic groups can actually come together. We see how that has shrunk.
How the UN is reacting then to these three impacts of the pandemic? What is it that the UN team in Kosovo, the UN Kosovo team, is doing differently? How are you adapting your strategy to this new reality?
Here in Kosovo, we are reaching out much more to civil society, working a lot with NGOs. We have all along, but we are really seeing how important that is to actually gain back that civic space that we have lost a lot during COVID. I would also say that the other one is on trust. Trust, so we talk about trust between people, but also confidence, trust in institutions. How well are my institutions responding to my needs and the needs of my community? And this is a big, I would say, a big objective of the Peacebuilding Fund project that we have currently in Kosovo, and that we are extremely grateful for, that we are implementing together with our partners here. The third area is on gender equality, and very much on women's empowerment. Women's rights organizations, and very rightly so, say that they have lost a lot of space and progress, which they have fought hard for. This is not only in Kosovo, we see it in the region, but we see it also elsewhere. So again, working with women, with young women in the communities, let's say bringing them back to the platform, or providing space, helping space where they can gain back the participation and the voice. They have voice, but they need the space to actually express themselves.
Could you give us an example of one organization that you have been partnering with that has been doing, you think, particularly good work on social cohesion, on trust building, or explain to us a bit the kind of work they do concretely to build trust?
It's difficult to give one. We have several, obviously, but we have, for example, two large organizations that work Kosovo-wide. We have something called the Peer Education Network, which works a lot with young people, and particularly now during COVID, when education has been, of course, a huge concern and challenge to all of us. But also the Kosovo Women's Network, which is, again, a Kosovo-wide organization engaging particularly women and advocating for women's rights. But then we have the specific NGOs that are targeting the inter-ethnic dialogue and the inter-ethnic space. And one that I like a lot is obviously, it's an NGO called Domovic, but another one is Forum for Development and Multi-Ethnic Collaboration. So one of them is acting in the north of Kosovo and the other one more in the south, but in areas where we have this challenge between Kosovo Albanians and Kosovo Serbs, but also of the Kosovo Roma, let's say, community.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Ulrika, for, of course, highlighting the dire situation, the additional stress that the pandemic is causing, but also, and I really appreciate the new opportunities that this might open up for peace building.